It is the brilliance and the dangers of the backcountry before you head out. This gentleman is someone you want to listen to. Please welcome Albi Sole, Mountain Programs Coordinator at the Outdoor Center. How is the Outdoor Center this time of year? Busy?
It's not so busy right now because everyone's getting ready for Christmas, but right before Christmas and right after Christmas, we get totally cleaned out with gear as everyone comes, rents a pair of cross-country skis or snowshoes, ice climbing gear, whatever their thing is, and gets out there. So really busy time. It goes from 0 to 100 in about 24 hours.
No kidding. Yeah. Well, if you're busy, that's a good sign. But if you're heading out to the backcountry, Albi, there's some information you want to pass on. Let's start with Banff and K-Country, the conditions.
So actually, you know, not so bad for early season. We're seeing that in general, the stability is not too bad. That above tree line, the skiing is actually really pretty good. Below tree line, it's not very good at all. But if you can get up into that range, the thing to watch out though, often when we see conditions like they are right now, moderate and low in that range, there's a sort of sense you can go and just jump into any kind of slope. And now it's early season, it's really not the time to do that. So long as you stay to the moderate slopes, then it's going to be good. If you're interested in things like cross-country skiing is great in many locations. Snowshoeing's pretty good. Certainly the ski areas are great. So there's a lot of things to do that are really safe, you can feel very confident about right now. Just so long as you don't think you're going to be a hero and jump into that big slope, it's going to be good there.
So the tree line, not so bad?
Tree line and above. The skiing quality is actually quite good. Not brilliant, but it's definitely worth going for.
If you're heading farther west to the BC interior, what will you discover there?
Pretty much the same kind of conditions. Generally, the hazard right now is lower in the interior, but things might be changing in the interior quite a bit over the weekend. Depends on how much snow we've got. So it seems like there might be a bit more snow than earlier forecast. If there is, we have on the surface this surface haul layer that's been developing under these blue skies, and that's going to create a real problem.
Create a danger, you mean?
Yeah, so right now it's no problem at all because it's on the surface, but if we do get a lot of snow, if we get 5 or 10 centimeters, so this is surface haul, we've seen this, I'm sure all of us, it's basically frost on steroids that grows on the surface of the snow.
Yes.
It's very beautiful when it's like this, and often, just like now, conditions aren't too bad while it forms, but it makes a very weak layer when you get a lot of snow on top. So if we get 5, 10 centimeters, it's probably not going to be such a big problem. If we get 20, 30 centimeters, it's really going to be a big problem. So that might happen by about Saturday afternoon in the interior, and by that time, you really want to be backing off. So it's all about the snowfall amounts in the interior.
So once you see that, as you say, just back off, maybe just reconsider whatever your plans are.
Absolutely.
Reassess.
Yeah.
The snowpack layers. A lot of folks have been asking about snowpack layers and how they are developed, and how would you even recognize them?
It's all driven by the weather. So this surface haul we just talked about, that's a blue sky condition, and it's frost on the surface of the snow. The other layers, they can be new snow layers that form down inside of form as the snowpack falls.
What do we have here?
So this actually is a surface haul layer right here on the snow, and so you've got a big fat layer. This is what we might be looking at coming into the weekend, is a weak layer like this that may slide all on its own if you jump out there. That's a pretty thick slab. You don't want to get messed up in something like that. Other layers are harder to see when you cut through the snow, but can be just as effective in causing avalanches. New snow layers, just a different snowflake that falls during the storm cycle. And then the big concern right now.
That's amazing. That visual is unbelievable. How very unstable it can be.
So this is when we do a test like this, we're seeing that this is a situation where not only do we have that layer, but it can slide. The layers are there all the time, and sometimes they don't really want to slide, but something like this is an indication that it's potentially not super unstable, but in the wrong spot, not good.
Something to just keep an eye open for.
Exactly.
And if you're well trained, you understand what you're looking for. True.
You know, you understand what you're looking for, but again, much of this stuff is inside of the snowpack. Your eyes can't see it. And so really the avalanche forecast is really still your best information for understanding the big picture. And then you just put in some local details around where you're going.
Glacier National Park. Permits, signing in is required before you're heading into the backcountry.
Yeah, so we have to recognize that's a bit of a special place. We've got the Trans-Canada going through there. That's obviously a super important communication route, and when they need to control the avalanches in that area, they absolutely have to be able to do it. They can't be fussing about worrying whether there's people in the backcountry. So there's some areas that you can go all the time because they're not of concern to the control services. But if it's one of the areas that does get controlled, of course they can't be throwing bombs in there when there's people in there. So you can't go in without having a permit to go in there.
Yeah, there's an example of where some bombs have been thrown in, and of course it can be, it's visually incredible, but you don't want to be on the bottom end of something like this.
In the bottom, the middle, the top, no part of it is good to be a place
That's
to
right.
be.
Being in a helicopter might be the best angle for you, absolutely. And you have to be careful too that whenever you go to the backcountry, it's always important, and I'm sure that you preach this all the time in your courses, that if you are going to the backcountry, let people know.
Yeah, you should let people know where you're going, for sure. These days, it's maybe not such a strong rule in the sense that we at least now have cell phones in some areas. Don't work so good in remote areas, but we can use the personal locator beacons, or satellite phones are also good things to have, so that if you have a problem, you can let people know.
Always great information, Albi. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
There you go. It's Albi Sole, and that is it with Snow Talks with Albi Sole.